Hello and welcome to this special program. We are sitting down with the former President of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, President Joseph Kabila. President Kabila, thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, a pleasure.
First of all, you had been here in Namibia for the burial and memorial service of the late founding President, Dr. Sam Nujoma. What had been your observations as to how Namibia, and especially Africa, has bade farewell to this iconic statesman?
Well, thanks a lot. I came to pay my last respects to the former president, the founding father, President Sam Nujoma. Well, what has my observations been? Personal observation is that, well, first of all, he will be dearly missed. That's a fact, that's for sure, not only by the Namibians, but across the region, the Southern African region and beyond, the whole continent, that's for sure. Secondly, I believe that it's probably a page that we are now turning. I remember that, and that's one of the main reasons why I had to come. It's because when I lost, or when the Congo lost, the President Laurent Désiré Kabila way back in 2001, we had three heads of state who came from the Southern African region. It was himself, former President Nujoma, back then President of the Republic of Namibia, President dos Santos, and of course late President Mugabe. And the three of them are now gone. He's the last one to have left us. So I made it a point to come pay our respects, especially since he was not only the former president of Namibia, but also a father figure for most of us. But the most important thing is, well, should pick up from where he left, and this new generation should continue and carry on with what he was doing and from where he left, in fact.
President Kabila, this is an end of an era, if we can say that. It's the last of the founding presidents alive that now passed on. But coming back to you, you were leading the DRC after that period that you mentioned for 18 years uninterrupted. But then you sort of went out of the public eye. What have you been up to since that time?
What have I been up to? As you can attest, I'm alive, so I've been alive. Yes, 18 years is a long time in the life of a nation. It could be a short time in the life of a human being. But we left office as per the Constitution. We've been doing various other activities, academic activities, and we intend probably to continue with those. But if the situation continues as it is back home, then we definitely will have to make sure that the Congo does not go down the drain, and that we are also there to assist, and as a mission to do exactly what we think has to be done in order for that situation not to get from bad to worse, which is basically what's happening as we speak.
Yes. Mr. Kabila, you talked about academic activities. This is studying at the University of Johannesburg.
Yeah, part of it is, yes, studying at the University of Johannesburg, which we are through with, and we currently, in fact, we suspended our academic activities 2-3 months ago in order to just have more give more time and attention to the situation back home. So we suspended that for some time.
And because of that, is that you coming back into the public life? Are we seeing that because there's reports that you are emerging from the shadows? I don't know. That is the reports that we're reading.
Those reports are wrong. Those reports are wrong. I've never been in the shadows. I've always been in the light. It's just that I was concentrating on something, and I always want to give my full attention to what I'm doing in order to succeed. You can multitask, but when you're dealing with very serious issues, multitasking is not an option. And here we're dealing with very serious issues. Well, academically, and of course the Congo being a very serious issue, serious situation. So you have to choose which is a priority. And for the time being, it's clear that the situation back home has become a priority.
Indeed, indeed. We are also reading reports, and I hope this time it's correct, that all eyes are on you, especially from the party that you lead, the People's Party for Reconstruction and Democracy, that all eyes are on you to stabilize the situation in the DRC.
Well, I don't know where that report comes from, but in any case, I believe that the situation in the Democratic Republic of the Congo is not a situation that has or can be dealt by just one individual. The Congo is a nation of 120 million inhabitants, Congolese. It has neighbors, not only neighbors around that huge country, but neighbors from as far as the Southern African region, Namibia, South Africa, and the others. So I believe that each and every entity, the Congolese people, have a role to play, individually or collectively. The region has a role to play, and I believe they've been trying to do that. We could have wanted it to have been handled differently, and probably better than the way it has been handled. But all the same, I believe that it's the good will and the good intentions that count. And you have to channel all those good intentions and create sufficient energy, positive energy, in order to deal with the situation. So yes, our party, our political platform is very much involved, will continue to be involved in order to bring about not only peace and stability, but also national cohesion within the country, because it's one of the elements, if not the major element, that's lacking and that has led to the current situation as we know it today. But, like I said, I've made it a point not to talk about the Congo and its internal politics being out of the Congo. I'm not going to make it an exception for the Namibian Broadcasting Corporation. So no exceptions.
We respect that 100%. Because
please.
There are many reasons for that. But in 2008, you were the one who signed a peace deal with the rebel groups in the eastern DRC. Is it wrong to see you as a key peacemaker in this conflict? Well,
we've always been talking about peace. In fact, this stems from the understanding that you cannot have development, which is the ultimate objective for any government, any people, development and economic well-being of the people. You cannot have that without having peace. So peace is the priority, if not the foundation, of anything. And you cannot have peace if you have injustices within a society. So coming back to your question, yes, lots of agreements, in fact, have been signed, not only in 2008. I believe the first one, major, you might call it, was an agreement we signed in Lusaka way back in 2001 or 2, which led to the Sun City Agreement, created a government of transition up to 2006. Subsequent elections were organized, with the constitution having been adopted by referendum in 2006, and then elections. Yes, we had our ups and downs also as a government, with rebellions left and right, mostly in the east, but not only in the east. And we dealt with these both ways, meaning we used negotiations as a tool. But we also built the capacity to deal with such a situation militarily. And that's how we managed to bring peace to 98% of the region in the east, the west, across the country. Now, the current fighting that's ongoing has its roots in, its root causes in very many other situations, as you might call them. Governance being an issue, injustices being an issue, constitution not being respected being an issue. So there are very many issues that come into play. And when you have such a situation internally, that's the internal dynamics, you will have external players who will also crop in. And that's what is happening. So today, as we speak, you have a number of armies that are deployed in the Congo, and each and every one of those countries has its own interests at heart. So those are the contradictions that we faced way back in 2001. We managed to do away with those, but they've cropped back up. And it's a challenge that we have to meet head on as Congolese, with all our neighbors, with the SADC region, and now members of the East African community. So those are the challenges that have to be met head on and to be dealt with, so that peace is not just a word that's uttered left and right.
So you spoke about the withdrawal of foreign troops and so on from the DRC. Would you say that is the first step of attaining this elusive peace in the DRC?
Well, from my experience way back in 2001, we took a bold decision. We either took that decision because we were very courageous, or we took that decision because we were very young. But in any case, it was a very bold decision. Our decision in 2001 was, we believe all foreign troops have to leave the Congo in order for peace to be achieved. And in order to give the Congolese the flexibility to talk about this thing that's called peace. And that's how most of those troops left. Congolese were left to deal with their own issues, but of course with the support and the accompaniment of the partners of the Congo, the region and beyond, the United Nations also included. But is it the same therapy that can or will work, the same miracle today? Now, we have to sit around and go into that, dwell into that. But I believe that there is nothing that's as important as a country being within its borders sovereign decisions, and there not being 7 armies battling it out, mercenaries included, hundreds of armed groups. Now, when you have such a mixture, well, it's quite an undesirable situation.
It's very complex indeed, Your Excellency. But in terms of the situation itself, and President Ruto is mediating, and he's got a very difficult role to play. I think very complex in terms of that. But how do you see his mediation helping to at least come to sort of an agreement to what we are saying today?
You see, you're bringing me back to talking about the Congo and its internal dynamics. But I don't know whether you want an answer from an elder statesman, myself, or you want an answer from just a former president. My advice, if at all anybody wanted my advice on this particular issue, my advice could be talk to the Congolese people. They know better, they know best, because they've already been there. They've climbed that mountain, they went down the valley. It's another mountain to climb. They know better and best how or what it is that they're suffering from. I know that the initiative is to bring mediators from West Africa and some other African countries, but no mediator will ever tell you that he or she knows the Congo better than the Congolese themselves. And I think that should be the first step. And then the second step, of course, should be the goodwill. How do you judge the goodwill, good intentions of the actors? And of course, thirdly, what are the guarantees that what you're doing will definitely, or at the end, bring about the peace that we are talking about? So I think it's a process that's still in its infancy. And I don't have all the details, so I should definitely abstain myself from going into what President Ruto is doing. Our church leaders are also trying to do something. But with time, I think we'll get all the details and we'll be able to make our own judgment. But my advice could be that.
But currently also there is the feeling that the DRC people are fighting themselves. They are fighting amongst themselves. If you look at the eastern part of DRC, there is that perception. Is that a correct perception that we are having at the moment?
Well, like I said, you have internal dynamics which have made it such that you have people who have picked up arms, you have the government that's fighting those who have done so. The reasons are various reasons. And I talked about the external players also. These are countries that are involved without necessarily naming them. I talked about 7 countries that are already involved, and probably more are supposed to come in. So the very first thing that I believe has to be achieved is to bring about internally a consensus on what it is that is wrong. When you reach that consensus, then you definitely will be on the right path to finding a cure for that. That was our approach in 2001. That today could also be the best approach as we speak.
At the time when you left office, you had a very good alliance with President Felix Tshisekedi. What is the status currently of that relationship?
Well, did we?
I believe when you left office, there was...
Yeah, when I left office, we had a coalition. We had the government of coalition, or coalition government, we called it, which was in place. But, well, that government unilaterally was stopped, or the coalition came to an end because President Felix decided that he did not need it. Well, we took note of that, and up to now we've taken note of that. So what's the status of the relationship? Well, I'm not in a position to say that. You're bringing me back to internal politics.
My apologies.
Let's talk about Namibia.
Yes, share your experiences, your impressions of the country, how we are going, and after 35 years of independence, we are looking to swearing in a first female president. What are your views on that, Your Excellency? Well,
very positive views, very positive views. Namibia has come to be a beacon of not only peace but hope, in large because of the work that was undertaken by the founding father, and of course those who have come after him. And after 35 years, and 35 years is not a long time. In the history of a nation, 35 years is quite a short time. The dynamics, the peace and stability that have been maintained in this country are to be commended. The development that's taking place is supposed to be commended. But Africa still will have challenges 10 years from now, 15, 20 years from now. In any case, any country in the world will always have challenges to be overcome. It's just the resilience of the people and the vision of the leadership in place that will always guide the people and the nation towards stable waters. And I think Namibia has had those. With us turning the page on the illustrious founding father, I think it's what should continue to inspire the leadership of this country to continue and move on that same path and probably do better where they believe they can do better. That could be my take.
Just on Vice President of Namibia, Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah being sworn in as the first female president, your thoughts on that, Your Excellency?
Well, it should be encouraged. It should be encouraged, and I believe that it's because of the policy, you might call it policy or politics, that the ruling party has in place. I was informed that the question of parity, 50-50 is an important one. And I believe the fruits of that parity is what you're seeing now with the first female president being sworn in. Do we or could we see, might we in the near future see that in very many other countries, African countries, why not the Congo? Yes, I truly think so. It's an uphill task, but I think now with what's happening here, people are definitely going to be prepared to see that in other countries.
Your Excellency, as a conclusion, a 53-year-old former statesman, you called yourself an elder statesman. What does the future hold for President Joseph Kabila?
For those who believe in God, like myself, I'll say, well, only God knows. Our intentions are to be very much available to serve our country, to serve our people, continue to serve our people, and serve the region also, Africa, because the Congo is an African country, Namibia is an African country. And what we should be looking at is not just our, you won't mind if I say our small countries, but the continent as a whole, because we are bigger, we are stronger as a continent, as Africans, as opposed to just being Congolese, Namibians, and this and that. So we still have a bit of energy to continue to serve that very cause.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Your Excellency, thank you so much for this.
Thanks a lot.